to Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry from the informative to the insane. Starring Ryan Rash.
Who we are never changes. Who you think you are does.
And Dale Hummel.
Not being Trump is no longer enough.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel, along with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello. Dale, how was your trip with the aliens? Did they probe you?
Thanks, Ryan. I'm good. I wish I could discover an alien at this point.
I think aliens took you. It was that or you went to negotiate peace talks with the China Communist Party.
I would be happy to volunteer for either one.
Oh, that's nice of you.
I did get through a goat sale and a few other things, and that was good. All good on those fronts.
I really missed yelling at you. I'm not going to lie. And I have no idea what all I talked about last week, but I just talked. It's very hard when there's no one to talk back to you.
That makes it difficult, I'm sure.
I would love to see you try it one week.
I
think it would be great.
I will bring Mr. Clays or Fugate or somebody along.
I think you should have to do a solo one by yourself because it was much more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Painful. Well,
I painful.
I do believe that we need to have like you had talked about, a backup in place.
I said that before we ever recorded the first one, and you see how well I've gotten along.
Yeah, I don't know when we're going to do that one, but we will. Okay, I'm going to start it out with COVID. I know that you probably don't want me to.
Oh, my God.
But I'm going to.
Oh, my God.
So I'm struggling as I've gone back into independently researching everything I possibly can on COVID and COVID vaccines.
Why?
Big surprise. Big shock.
Why?
And if I dive into this, Ryan, when I dive in, I can find very intelligent people.
Can I sum this up for you?
Yes.
There's the same number of intelligent people on both sides that are going to tell you to get vaxxed and the same that are going to tell you not to.
No, and these aren't even saying get vaxxed or not, but they're presenting research and kind of letting you decide. But you are correct. There's as much research out there that Ryan and I are both vaccinated. I'll speak for you on this one a little bit. And there's certain articles that I will read that I consider legitimate research that scares the hell out of me from getting vaccinated.
And again, we talked about this earlier in the way. I don't know why you do that because you can't get it out of you now.
No, but what I'm trying to figure out is how long will it be in me? And guess what? I believe you got the Moderna. I got the Moderna. I don't know what you.
Yeah, I got Moderna.
So in essence, it's in our DNA.
Uh-huh.
And if we simplify it, and it that means it's not really going away per se.
That's why I don't understand. I knew that much, so that's why I don't know why the boosters aren't even legal anymore because the FDA said no. But
and I think they'll probably come back on that at some point. But I'm glad they're taking their.
It was 16-2.
No, I agree. I think but their reasoning was there wasn't enough research and numbers and time. So there is no doubt.
Which
in my mind
I have another question. The FDA says no, 16-2. I'm just going to put this out there. Both of my parents have already had their booster shot. How?
But if no, 65 and older, they approved.
Oh, okay.
And I think also,
I was like, how the hell is this possible?
And I believe immunocompromised. And it's interesting. Okay. The immunocompromised, you go to your local Walgreens or CVS or wherever you're getting vaccinated, you don't have to have a doctor's note to get that booster. You simply need to tell them that you have some type of.
You don't have to have an ID in the state of Texas. I'm telling you, I didn't have to present mine.
Anybody can walk in and get the booster. I do not recommend it at this point unless you're over 65 or have an immune issue, all of those things. So I want to take it just a little further onto a personal level and a little more serious note. I'm going to use two friends that I have as an example. One has not been vaccinated. Recently contracted COVID, assumably the Delta variant. I don't know for sure. He's had it for a few days. This person would tell you that has very mild symptoms, has no idea why people are any more concerned with this than the everyday flu. And I think he had that opinion going into it. And I absolutely respect that opinion. And I think it's working out. He's going to have antibodies when he comes across the other side of this, and it's going to be stronger than what the vaccine is. So I think he's in an ideal situation. But I have a second friend that I have not spoke to in a long time that contracted COVID. I came to find out yesterday had contracted COVID maybe a week or so ago. I'd found out that he'd passed away. He went to the doctor. The doctor, I don't know if he did or did not give him treatment, basically sent him back home. And in a matter of time, somebody shows up at his place and he's no longer with us. I don't have any idea what exactly you would find if you do an autopsy or if they're going to, but assumably COVID related, maybe a blood clot, maybe there's a blood clot related with the vaccinations. I don't, there's issues with both. And I truly struggle. It's a struggle for me because I don't have an answer on what's better. Do you get vaccinated or do you take the chance of getting COVID and hopefully you're mild or asymptomatic? So I do know that pushing mandates is and will create more opposition than if we did not mandate these things. So one more time, I have one more statement. I would like to state I am not sure if you as an individual should or should not get vaccinated. I cannot tell you that. Everybody's going to be different in different situations. I can't give you guidance there because I don't know. So it depends on your many variables, and this should be your choice, period. You should not be mandated to. It should be your choice, and it should be an individual choice relative to your state of health and everything else that comes into play. Please educate yourself as best possible, and do not, here's what I can control or try to encourage you. Do not let politics influence your decision. I get it. It's not easy. I get so angry and hear about the mandates that I wish I could take my vaccine back or not have it because of the way they're approaching this. But that should not affect a decision that is going to impact your health. And again, I don't know what's best for you, but you need to make that decision politic free.
I've been very honest on here. I went and got the vaccine because my mother held my inheritance over my head. And so that's why I have it. But, and I still stand by that. Anyhow, the whole thing is on this is like, I have said from the beginning when this Rona nonsense started, and up until the last month, I will stand by this statement. I have a lot of people on social media, all this other stuff. I saw very few instances of people that I knew could say I know, and when I paraphrase that, not just some random person that's on my social media that I have no idea who they are, but like people on social media that I've met them at some point in my life. I saw very few instances of anyone at least admitting that they had COVID. Some, but very few. I only knew of one person who had a family member that died of COVID until the last month. This past month, I'm seeing lots of stuff on my Facebook of people that I know, I have met them, that either them, a family member, a spouse, a kid, whatever, has COVID. My mother and stepfather's personal trainer's brother, this is like Ferris Bueller's best friends, girlfriends, whatever. But anyway, their personal trainer's brother, he's 48 years old, and he died of COVID yesterday, and he has 12 kids. So, I don't know I can't give you the scientific reason. Maybe it's the Delta variant, maybe it's the Mu variant, I don't know. Maybe and by the way, the 48-year-old personal trainer with 12 kids was not vaccinated. I don't know what is causing for me seeing more instances of this and knowing more people that are having issues with it, but that part is real for me. Next.
No, I agree completely. And we're both so avidly against the mandates, and I hope our listeners realize that. We have an Illinois
I won't even go to gay bars that make me show my little thing.
No, and I
do you know how boring my Snapchat has been?
Because you won't go to the gay bars that are all going to be very liberal, by the way.
Because you have to whatever, and I'm just not going to patron a place that is going to force that on people.
Yeah,
gay, straight.
You will buy makeup from China. I'm out.
You damn sure right I will be. But anyway,
out.
Oh, Dale, that was the one thing that I'm so glad you didn't listen to the episode because I had nothing for question and answers. So I just answered the 3 questions I got the most. And one was about my makeup, and I said you would die. But anyway,
I've had that question come across. I just don't ask it.
I know. So I answered it. It was great.
So we have a mandate in Illinois, a mask on an inside period. And I'm going to say 25% of the people at your Lowe's, grocery stores, et cetera, are not wearing masks. And my family's been able to go in and out of the stores and nobody's forcing us to. And I am absolutely convinced this is contagious as a Delta variant is. The mask is doing nothing. We're all going to be exposed to it multiple times. That I know for a fact. All the research indicates that. We've stated this before. The mask does zero, nothing. And I think we are at a threshold, even in Illinois, that people just aren't going to do it, Ryan. You're going to have the more extreme liberals that will do it as a political statement, and the rest just won't do it.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Hypocrisy is amazing. What about your San Francisco mayor without a mask in a room of crowded people that were mostly unmasked? And she is has the most strict mandates of masking inside of anywhere. Heck, I think they even were masking outside in San Francisco. It pisses me off.
Sacramento, it was very, very weird.
I can take the other end of it. There's a GOP lieutenant governor candidate in Nevada. I believe he was in a meeting in Las Vegas. He refused to wear a mask along with some others in this meeting, and I think it was about mandates. It was probably pretty tense to begin with. They physically pushed, beat everything they could do to get him out of there, and they knocked over the metal detector trying to get him out. It was bad. And this is somebody running for lieutenant governor that just wasn't going to put a mask on. I think we're going to see more and more of that defiance, and there's going to be some incidences that aren't good.
You can tell on the news and just anywhere, like if you pay attention, like the whole mask versus unmask. I think if Biden wouldn't have pushed this vaccine mandate, then the mask versus unmask would be actually the hottest controversy right now.
We have so much crap to be the controversy. It just keeps
right. And so, but I do want to put out one point here that this bothers me. I saw a statistic today, or maybe yesterday, I don't remember, that 74.6% of Americans have had at least one shot of a vaccine. So that's almost 3/4 of the country.
Then add in your natural immunity.
Okay, so when is it enough?
I think what you're seeing is the Delta is so contagious, it's catching that smaller percentage. But here within either now or within the next 30 days, that real number of people that either have been vaccinated or have a natural immunity to it, I truly believe in the next 30 days, it's going to be somewhere in the 90s. And I don't think you'll ever see that data because they want to ignore the natural immunity that people build up from having COVID. But there is no question if that number 73% is real, which I believe it is, the number or percent that's either been vaccinated or has built up antibodies is going to be in the 90 percentile, and we have reached herd immunity, period. Done, over. Do I think you can avoid the Delta variant? Absolutely not. Maybe there'll be another variant to come along that's just as contagious. Ryan, you and I have been exposed to it multiple times, I promise you. Fortunately, whether it's a vaccination or our own immune system, I don't know why, but it's not affecting us for some reason.
There's no way that as much as I go, I haven't been to the regular Rona, the Delta Rona, the Mu Rona, I don't know, like, is Southwest got one? No, I mean, but yeah. And I mean, I've been lucky and grateful and thankful, but I don't know in terms of these mandates. Like, if anything else the government was trying to regulate that everyone had complied at nearly 75% of the country, there would be no more of this. And so that's the part that's frustrating to me.
Agreed. Speaking of the Southwest, how's your southern border going?
Oh, what a...
Did you go check on it while you were home?
No, Dale. I was home for all of 24 hours. No. What a freaking shit show.
It's ridiculous.
Like, that is just in insane. And like, the one thing that I want to point out on this is, and maybe you can enlighten me there, sir, since you have like not one but two border agent boyfriends that you talk to all the time. These people are all from Haiti that are under, or the large majority of them are from Haiti that are under the Del Rio Bridge right now. And I think it's like over 10,000 and 20,000 more are coming. For those of you that don't know where Haiti is, there is a large body of water in between Haiti and Mexico. And then once they get to Mexico, they got to walk to the Del Rio or get there somehow. Someone is paying for this to happen.
Let me enlighten you a little bit, and there may be some of that, but what you have with
Dale,
I will try. You asked me to try to explain. You asked me to explain. Do you want me to or not?
You're gonna lie if you say something.
I will give you the information that I was provided. That's all I can do. They are mostly Haitian. I don't think they all are, and the number fluctuates from 7 to 15. There's a lot of people in the. It looks like a third world country at best in that camp. There's nothing, limited supplies of anything, no shelter, limited food, limited water. They're walking back and forth across the river to Mexico to get water and food because they're not providing it, which I don't want to get started on that. We'll never get to a main topic. But most of the Haitians they left Haiti post a bad earthquake, 2015, 2017. I don't remember when that earthquake hit, but a lot of them did choose to leave and they went to South America. Brazil, primarily, Chile, are the two countries where a lot of them ended up. And now that they and have been there since that time, and now that they saw the open border, Mr. Biden reversing all the policies that they can just walk across, claim asylum and stay, and he gave a special something for Haitians for whatever reason, and I don't know what the details on that, but they basically got a green light to come in. So they were already in Brazil, most of them, or Chile, or some other South American country, and they just came right up. I'm not saying some didn't come directly from Haiti, and there's
what about this 20,000 that are fixing to be here?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they're coming from, but the initial ones came that way, and then they get on their phones and
I'm just telling you, they didn't swim and walk here.
No, they did not, and a lot of them. I'm not saying they're. I don't know what class they're coming from, but they look like they have some funds to buy decent clothes and things like that. I think you have all races, all classes involved. I don't think there's any boundaries there.
This is just amazing to me.
Did you see the Senate hearing where the DHS director would not give the number of illegal immigrants that have come across the border? He just refuses to give. Don't have to get back to you. Would come to a Senate hearing knowing he's going to be asked that question and doesn't have it. The answer.
That's nice.
That concerned me. What about your horse police? Actually, these were Texas police, not border agents, stopping the immigrants from coming across the border and now accused of whipping people.
They didn't whip anybody.
I heard it. Our vice president stated, this is terrible treatment of human beings.
And first off,
chameleon, terrible treatment of human beings.
They didn't have whips. These are the reins on the horses. And wasn't one of your little border boyfriends explained on the news earlier today, they welcome this investigation. They say, bring it on, because under the protocols that these horse agents are taught, if a convict, whether it's a Haitian refugee or whatever, charges at the horse, comes near the horse, gets within, they're supposed to twirl the reins. So that will make them back up because the horse could step on them, kick them, run them over, etc. They're trying to keep the crazy people away from the horse.
And we're stopping them from coming across a border that they shouldn't cross to begin with.
Exactly. And by the way, when that happened, they were already in Texas. That's why those people were handling it. They had already crossed over illegally.
Yeah, and our vice president, the chameleon, she's saying how terrible this is, but look at the conditions those people, those 10,000+ are living in. That's okay. No big deal. Stick houses. It's just hard to even swallow. It's ridiculous. Now, if we truly had a closed border, and I'm sure those people, maybe they were even good people. I think most of the people in that camp are probably good people because all the gang members and drug cartel, they're going downriver a couple miles because there's no agents there because they're all processing the masses. So I don't doubt most of those people are probably good people. I understand. I understand why they're coming. All of those things. It shouldn't be allowed to happen in that manner. It should be in a legal manner, and we have those things in the books. So why can't we close the border up, let them come through the legal entry hole and process them properly? We just enforce the laws that are on the book. That's all I would like.
I have no idea on all that. It's
United Nations. Did you hear Mr. Biden? He gave a speech at the United Nations.
I did not.
Do you think he mentioned Russia, China, or Afghanistan?
Probably not, since they own him.
He just kind of avoided that. He talked a little bit about he's already doubled the funding to go to other countries to make our planet more green and climate control. Now he's going to double it again, he said. So he basically just said, I'm going to give you a lot of money, and let's hope it actually goes to making our planet more green when we're giving it to mostly corrupt politicians.
That will help things.
That's pretty much the basis of the speech. That's it. No southern border. None of these monster crises. And the reporters all tried to ask him questions from the U.S. and other countries. He took one question maybe about the border, and he says he's going to get it under control. That's all that we heard. It's amazing. The French pulled their ambassador out and many other things, pretty much cut off all connections with the United States over a military submarine deal and I think it's more about how it was handled, that Biden did not even give him heads up that we were trying to get the Australians business. It looked like France had the contract for billions of dollars. All of a sudden we come in and take it away with no forewarning. It just is not going well, Ryan.
Nothing's going well for this man.
How's Afghanistan? We don't even hear about it anymore. How many hundreds of people are there, and how many atrocities are being committed?
I don't think we know.
No, we don't. And they don't care is the worst thing. They don't care.
No, I don't think they care either.
That's all I have. We're long. I'm going to stop, even though we could go forever. But you have one more thing you can bring up if you so choose.
And this is going to... You just want me to bring this up.
I do. I want you to get a little fired up. I could talk about aliens if you'd like.
So, the whole Gabby situation, and before I get into this, I do not want
keep this short.
Think I'm heartless. My heart goes out to her family and her loved ones, and what happened to her is terrible. It is absolutely awful. At the same time, I have a great deal, big problem understanding why this particular story of this one girl has captured the media's attention for 2 weeks. And everyone is obsessed with it. And yes, it is tragic. And I think we all knew from the very beginning how this was going to end. And yet it has consumed the news cycles. It has consumed pop culture in America. And as tragic as it is, if we're going to treat this story like this, why aren't all the missing children stories? And she's not even a child. I mean, and she went willingly with an abusive, psychotic boyfriend on a trip around the world, or around the U.S., excuse me, when there are children that are abducted every day and sold into sex trafficking and God knows what all, killed, and you never see their faces or their names or anything.
I agree.
And so I have a big problem with how the media decides to pick this story and make her, and in some ways, she's been exploited, in my personal opinion.
I think it's helped ratings. There is no question. They're putting it up there because the audience will listen, Ryan. I don't know how they choose or why they choose or any of those things, but it is a little out of whack.
I'm not saying she doesn't deserve to be found, and I am glad that the people that were watching did send in clues to the FBI and videos, and that's how they found this poor girl. All that. I'm not saying that she is not worthy, but I just have a great hard time understanding how they picked this story and then other ones you hear nothing about. And so, end of rant.
You're good at those rants, by the way.
You just want me to get hate mail. That's why you wanted that brought up.
No, that shouldn't.
Yes,
that
it is.
That should not create hate mail. There is nothing that you said there that you can argue with at all. Main topic.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to talk about Boxel before we go into the main topic, or would you like to?
Oh, well, you talk about Boxel. I did this all on my own last week, sir.
I would be happy to. I got to speak with. We're going to call him Mr. Boxel. How's that sound?
Mr. He has Boxel. A name.
Mr. Boxel. We don't want to. We don't have permission just yet to use it. I don't think. But okay. They did contact us, and I believe Ryan had talked about it a little bit last week, but not only they sponsor this podcast and basically cover a lot of our expenses to put this podcast out, and that is very, very much appreciated. I like the fact that they're trying to educate or do what they can to support this, and in turn, we can help educate the youth in the stock show industry, all those things. They stepped up another notch and are going to help the Beyond the Ring Junior Livestock Association by giving a rebate back after each person purchases a blower. I mean, they're going above and beyond. So simply put, guys, give them a try. If you don't like it, great. If you like it, continue to do business with them. But I would at least, they're kind of a new kid on the block as far as their face popping in. They've been here forever behind the scenes, but give them a try. See what you think. We have a double blower here that our manager and herdsman say phenomenal. Everything's great. All go in the right direction. So give it a try if you get a chance. They are supporting this podcast. They are supporting our Points Association, and it is appreciated.
And before you go into my topic, I want to say thank you to all the sponsors for BTRJLA. I haven't even contacted anybody. All these people have contacted us, and we're very appreciative. I do want to highlight two this week, because what's cool about these two that I'm going to talk about is they're just doing this because they believe in the program and what we're trying to do. They didn't want a company or a product or anything highlighted. They just
that's really good.
Yeah, they just gave money because they believe in what we're trying to accomplish, and they think it's going to be good for the livestock industry. So I don't have a big song and dance about either one of these individuals, other than from the bottom of my heart to these two families, thank you, because I know that both of these families, if you're contributing this amount of money, then you have something that you could have promoted on here, and they chose not to. And so the Scott Stedgy family is a regional sponsor for the hog division in Region 3. And the one thing about regional sponsors, and we've got several of them, but we need a lot more. And I'm talking to Regions 1, 2, and 6. That's who I'm talking to. The thing about when you sponsor a regional award, you're ensuring, like the Stedgy family did hogs, they are ensuring that in Region 3, all the hog exhibitors, regardless of numbers, will have a full slate of awards because they sponsored it. So when you sponsor a regional or state award, that money is ensuring that the full slate awards will be given for those exhibitors. And so we really appreciate them for sponsoring Region 3 hogs. And the Magnus family is one of our 4 national top 10 jacket sponsors. Again, those two families, thank you so much for believing in us and seeing the vision and helping us, achieve what we think can be really, really legendary and epic for the stock show kids throughout this nation. So thank you to both the Magnus and the Stedgy family.
Thank you so much. Main topic, Ryan, pet peeves in and out of the show ring.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
Oh, yeah. He loves it. Oh, he says he loves it. He says he doesn't have any.
No, I do. I just have to have you remind me of what they are sometimes. But I do have a couple.
You do have a couple.
I do. Well, I'm going to try to stay rainbows and butterflies and something else.
Well, then this is the wrong topic.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work for this one.
It may be entertaining, but it may not be real positive.
I will start, and I will just start in the ring, and I'm just being, as y'all know me, I'm just bluntly honest, and I think it is because I do get the opportunity to sort as many shows as I do. My greatest pet peeve in the world right now is kids not knowing where they're going in the show ring after the first class. If you're in the first class, you get a pass. After that, you don't get a pass anymore.
And we have talked about it quite a bit.
And it's not getting better.
It's not like somebody showing to you couldn't find that out.
It's really just not getting better. I'm just being real honest.
No, and I have not been out there very much, but Ryan, when I go out, I'm completely with you on this one. If I'm out there every day like you are, I'd probably get cranky about it.
I think the reason that I get that this is my biggest pet peeve currently is it's the easiest thing in the world to fix. And
yeah, anybody can fix it. You don't have to have a certain talent or anything. You just come watch.
Right. Just go to the ring, watch a couple classes, see how it's going to go. And when we talked about this last time, somebody said, well, what if you're in the first class? First class, you get a bye. I mean, that's just how it is. You get a pass. and then they're like, well, what if the judges changes whatever? I have not seen many shows in my life where the judge midway through just changed the whole setup and how it all happened. I'm not saying it hasn't before, but that's by and large not how it works.
If you have a large class, you may adjust how you pull them out to walk or something. And you're going to get a pass on that as well.
This person acted like judges just sporadically change the way that things are led around and pulled in and all this stuff all the time. That is not the case.
And maybe after the first class, if the judge was not involved in how they came in the first class, the judge may go to that ring person and say, hey, we need to do this differently. But same thing, you're going to get a pass again
I get that. But if I'm the judge and I changed it up after class 1, then I'm not going to be mad at the kid in class 2 that doesn't realize it.
Exactly. That's not what we're talking about.
No, I'm talking about...
That is not the pet peeve.
No, I'm talking about we've done the same drill all the way through showmanship, and the last heat of senior showmanship comes in, and there's a whole bunch of 16, 18-year-old kids, and none of them know where they're going. Yeah, I don't like that. Or the same thing...
I get it.
The last breed of the day, and whether it's goat, sheep, or cattle, and they don't know which view to come in on, which way to turn, which way... I don't understand it, and even... I think that the child should have to go up there to the ring and watch. I really do. Like, I don't think that's hard. But if that's just not going to happen, then it relies on the adult or an adult in this situation to go up there and then communicate that to that kid. And again, it's the easiest thing in the world to fix, and it's not getting better, and it is a growing sense of frustration for the gay.
Understandable. I have one that's show ring related, but stock show related, but it's right here at home or when I make visits to other places. And you know what? I'm going to take this to a fault even, but a pet peeve of mine, and my family would tell you about this, is dirty water buckets or dirty automatic waters. And I've talked about it, and I have a very strong opinion that feed and water intake are directly correlated. And I think we almost go to a disservice when we wean baby goats or even cattle. We will make sure that they're watered out of a bucket because we can rinse and wipe those buckets out 2 or 3 times a day, and the water is pristine that they have access to. My fear is when they go from that to maybe an automatic water that's harder to keep that clean, or into a barn that maybe changes the bucket out every other day, I'm worried that sometimes we decrease feed intake because they're so used to that perfectly clean water. So it's a pet peeve of mine, but I may take it to a fault. Does that make sense?
That was the barn one, though. But
that was a barn one. That's not necessarily a show ring one.
No, but we're glad you got that out of the way now.
I did. I needed to get that off my chest.
I will give another one that's going to be greatly unpopular. And
I have one more unpopular after that.
Well, then you go right ahead. Since
no,
you think you're going to one-up me.
No, I would like to wait because you're not going to like this one. You are not.
I will get the most hate mail, and it will be greatly unpopular. And I just had this out with Dale the other day, and he doesn't agree either. But this has nothing to do with anything, how I place things in the ring or anything like that, because it doesn't. Because most of these kids that come in the ring, I've never seen them before, or the vast majority may never see them again, all this other stuff. But I'm just going to be real and honest with you people that think if you're putting that same kid in the same shirt and that's going to get you somewhere in life, if you got to resort to that tactic, bless your heart. Because
you are going to be the least popular in Texas.
I think it's dumb. I really do. I really think it's dumb.
Well, Ryan, why would they do that?
They think...
Don't they do it for a reason?
But see, their reason makes no sense to me. Because they think if the kid wears the same shirt, then people will recognize them and all that stuff. By the way, these shirts, 99% of them are just solid colored shirts that anybody can go out and buy one. The same color, same shade, same everything. I mean, like, there was an instance in Houston a few years ago where there were 2 kids, classes back to back, had on the same everything. And like the one person probably dressed just to look like this other person. And
you believe it was truly intentional?
Yes, I really do.
I can
down
see
to
that.
the hairstyle. I mean, everything.
Oh my.
Yeah, and so like, if your exhibitor or your child is that big a deal, they're gonna know that kid's face, not its shirt. But again,
what you're trying to get at is they're trying to become more recognizable, is what
right? And I just think that it just bothers me.
No, I
had lots of kids that won lots of damn shows that we never wore the same damn shirt. I'm just gonna put it out there.
And if they have a lucky shirt or their favorite shirt, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's not. I didn't say anything about a lucky shirt or a favorite shirt.
You're talking about from the time they start as a junior showman,
right?
All the
from
way
the time they are 8 years old till they graduate, 21, whatever.
Well, maybe they didn't grow a lot.
Oh, sweet Jesus of God!
that one is going to be more unpopular in Texas than the other states, by the way.
No, why do you think I bring it up? I see it every damn time.
And I'm not saying we don't see it outside of there, or you don't see it outside. It's not as much.
I just think it's dumb. I think it's trying too hard.
Okay, I have one, Ryan, and you have to help me out with this because I know your opinion on this. You can't hide it.
I don't hide anything, bitch.
Crunchy lambs.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Crunchy lambs.
You're going to need to explain that to people because not everybody knows what you're saying, which I cannot believe that I am telling you to explain this to people.
Well, Ryan, it's got to the point where, and I'm going to take it one step further after that. Between the two, it's gotten to the point where you can't hardly avoid it when you're sorting.
That is why anybody out there, do not hire Dale to judge sheep. It gets him angry.
I do get angry about these
He's mad.
Things.
He thinks they all are terrible-legged anyway. And so just don't hire him to judge sheep. Anything else is fine.
We're going to talk about crunchy lambs, and I'm not going to hold back on it. And I think those that are performing this act are obviously very aware already of what I'm talking about. And it's becoming, there's too much. Time out, back up. And maybe there's less now than there was a year ago because of other issues. But when you go to handle a lamb that has been aired, I don't know how else to say it, Ryan. There's a window there that
you're fine.
That when you handle them, they're going to crunch. And you know what? I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to admit to it here. Now, maybe I shouldn't. And Ryan, you're going to say, no, that was a bad idea. But that air will eventually settle to the bottom of their body, and that's part of the way we can get a little deeper flank, and a lot of that air will settle in that rear hock. And if you reach down and pinch that rear hock, guess what, Ryan? just as crunchy or more crunchy than how the top feels. And that I'm hopeful that the showmen, especially the young ones, have no idea. And some of them don't. So it makes it difficult to take it out on them. So you can't get on the microphone and just abuse them for it. But I would prefer that when somebody sends one in like that with a young child, they should think, let's be a little smarter about this. You try to straighten this mess out, Ryan.
Don't
and not just lambs. I'm not.
You bring this up and then you send this to me to straighten out.
And let's throw goats in there too. It doesn't seem to be as rampant, but it's stepped up heavily in the goat side as well. Both lambs and goats, crunchy tops, crunchy lambs, crunchy goats. It's real.
I am not saying it is not real.
So what do you do when you handle a lamb or a goat and it's crunchy?
I think where you and I probably differ a little bit on this, I think you go looking for it. To be real honest,
I will have. I mean, I'm not saying I look for it, but when it hits me, I get once the first one comes in, and it's very rarely I'll have a lamb show, and more so goat shows that I don't have one. You know, when that one comes in,
at every single one. I'm not going to lie about that, but I think
I get the most
Inspector Gadget, and you want to find this. I am not that way. It does happen at every single show of sort. I'm not going to say it doesn't. And again, I'm glad that you brought up that most times, or we hope at least, that the kid is unaware of what is going on. I don't know if that's the case, but that's what we hope. And so I am the person that I am never going to embarrass a kid. Like, I'm going to at least try not to. And so I think when we were judging in Andrews and you had your boot pain and, you know, all that other...
Cranky?
The most cranky, but I felt a lamb and didn't feel right. And I think that lamb stood third. And I just said on the microphone, I said, the first time I felt this lamb, felt it and I didn't like it. And I just left it at that.
And I think those behind the scenes get it. They understand what you're talking about. And
so,
that's a good way to handle it. I'm with you. I just sometimes do get a little cranky about I just don't want those kids, if they are, I just don't want them exposed to that. There's nothing that we're doing in the stock show industry that benefits. Does that make sense?
No, I'm with you, but
and for parents to allow their children to be exposed to that or put them into that environment, I plead to just don't. Just think about it. Think about what we're trying to do and what's important. Maybe not about hanging that one banner because you went out of bounds, but rather let's think about the environment and the people we're surrounding our kids with. That's probably enough on that topic.
Okay, next.
And I was going to take it one more step further, and I'm not going to go into any detail on this one, but it does concern me also when I have the left side of the rack that is much larger than the right side of the rack. And I'm going to stop there. If you want to take it farther, you can. I'm not going any further with it.
Okay, so now, if lopsidedness is a problem, okay,
it's a pet peeve of mine. I'm going to say it is a pet
Dell's
peeve.
Pet peeves. That's lovely. Moving on to
take us down a more positive path.
There's nothing positive about pet peeves.
Oh, it's not hard to come up from where we're at right now.
Okay, yeah, there's only one way to go up, but there's nothing positive about pet peeves. One for me, and again, I try not to be hypocritical. Very, very hard in my life. I try not to be hypocritical. And so I will be the first one to tell you that I coach kids from outside the ring, and that when I am in the ring showing at an open show, I will always look to somebody to see if they think it is set up. And so while I'm not trying to be a hypocrite in the fact that I think that I use coaching, I accept coaching, all this other stuff, I think there's a way that it can be done, and it can be done discreetly and not cause a scene. But more and more, it's like either you don't ever see the coach, or all you see is the coach. Like, I guess is the best way to say it. And it's getting to the point of obnoxious. And then, like, I don't know if the kids are just getting fed up with the situation or what, but like, they're shaking off the coaches, and it's just a bad deal. It's just a bad deal. We got to be more discreet.
Especially with you in there, because you're more perceptive of those things than most. And I'm with you. I don't, it's gotten to the point where it's distracting.
I mean, it is just like, I mean, it's like watching a mini mime fight right there in the ring. That is one thing. Like, I'm not going to say I don't coach. I'll coach the day I'll die. I will look up at somebody in the stands or on the sidelines when I'm showing one, and all I tell them to do is either nod yes or shake me off, and I can figure it out from there on out. I don't need them to tell me, back leg, show side, whatever. I just need we're good or we're not. And
I'm going to go with you. I'm a hypocrite as well. I don't like it, but I coach.
No, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm saying I do it, but I'm also not rattling the fence and hanging over the top and screaming and all that other stuff. But
I am right there with you on that one. Absolutely. And that was better. How about popping pasterns and cattle?
Oh, well, we could just go. This is good that you brought this up. And I know that is, whoa. What bothers me more than the popping of the pasterns, Dale, is that most judges just completely ignore it.
Disregard it. That is exactly where I was going.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, I can't. Some are going to do that. It's part of it. Maybe it's stress. Maybe they've been there's a lot of reasons for it.
I mean, just act like that just wasn't even out there.
Yep, that's why.
Just not even bring it up.
It doesn't bother me that much when I'm in the ring. It bothers me when I'm outside of the ring. I see it, and there's no mention.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't bother you in the ring because you're going to bring it up and call it out. That's why it doesn't bother you in the ring.
Without hesitation.
That's why I said what bothers me more than the actual popping of the bastard is just like all of them just act like it didn't exist.
And in some classes, you're going to use one of those. You don't. It just.
And
everything
that
else
is perfectly fine. Yes. As long as you say, this is here, it's not right, I don't like it, but it's still the best one, and this is why it's the best one.
Nope, exactly. Very well stated.
Oh, that is a big thing. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because the popping, the actual physical popping of the pasterns on the animals.
And we're talking about
it's
cattle,
not just cattle.
Primarily cattle.
It happens in goats, and it happens in sheep, and it happens in pigs.
Yeah, just not at the same level. Pigs have their own. I don't even know how we go down that path of those front feet.
But
that is a pet peeve, by the way.
One thing that has been here lately, and I have addressed this, but I think it was months ago. Look, again, me not being a hypocrite. I'm not going to say that I haven't ever followed a calf into a ring or anything like that. I will admit it. I have done it. Probably will do it again. I'm not going to lie. But if I ever go back to selling them again or something, yeah. But, and I have stated before, so this isn't my new pet peeve, whether it's a water bottle on a pig that, they can make it shoot 20 feet and land in the middle of the back or in the middle of the ring, or, a sheep or a goat or a calf. I don't care if you're going to follow one in. It does absolutely no good under me. It doesn't hurt you, but it does nothing for you. Now, when you get to the point that you have a posse of 12 following that thing in it, that is a little annoying and probably not helping matters, but still going to judge the animals. I think it is insulting to most judges, probably, and that's why I don't know why we all do it, including myself, that I think, at least in my mind, it's like, you don't think I can find the best one, so I need a signal from you. That's how I come across. That is not my pet peeve, though. My pet peeve is they're doing this in showmanship now, and I get angry. I mean, real angry.
I can only imagine.
Not a little angry. And I have no poker face at all. I have admitted this. We all know it. You can see the pictures. It really gets under my skin. And this has been happening.
You cannot do anything about it because you're not going to punish the child.
No. But I want to go grab that person up by the shirt collar and say, what are you doing? That is what I want to do.
Agreed.
The person, not the kid, the person that's decided to follow said kid into showmanship. And it happens in all species, and I don't get it. But I mean, it does. It does just irk me.
I'm going to go to a lighter side. What about when stock pull in the ring, and you're not as maybe concerned about as I am, but it doesn't matter whether it's sheep, cattle, or goats. We'll pull in and we get right up to the fence line, so I can't even walk around the front if I choose to, and I don't always choose to, but sometimes if I don't get a good look when they're coming in or whatever, I still want to study that chest floor and that shoulder. And sometimes we have a ring that is 50 foot deep and we have to be right up against that fence. So that's a little bit going back to what Ryan talked about, just how to work yourself around the ring.
Yeah. Most people do walk down the front. A funny story. My parents went and saw me go judge the state Hereford show, not this summer, but last summer. And so Cherie just ate my ass out one side and down the other when it was over, because I never went down the front of the line to look at the calves' front feet. And I said, well, Mom, I watched every single one of those things hit the ring from the front. And I said, it's way more advantageous to watch the front feet in actual motion and see how the whole front end works. I said, so no, I didn't. She said, well, you're going to do it next time, which I have not. But anyway, yeah, so I get it. But yeah, a lot of people do. And in sheep and goats, for instance, if it's close, like in the top 5 or something, I'll tell them to back off the front end and I'll walk down there and check out their chest floor and stuff. I mean, a lot of that stuff I can see without just bearing down on it. But I think that is something that you need to be conscientious of.
Yeah. While we're on, and I see this more in goats, Ryan, than I do the other, and not as much in cattle. Not that there aren't bad fake hair fitting done on cattle, but there seems to be less of it. But goats, when we put this fake leg hair on them that looks like plaster Paris or sculpture, or stucco, maybe. I don't know how to describe it. You've seen it, where you just mold it. There's no resemblance of it looking like hair. That bothers me.
We've talked about this a lot. I think on the fake hair thing, whether it's a flank or a leg or whatever you're going to do, it goes back to just a general principle in terms of stock showing. If you can do it and the judge knows that you are really, really talented and masterful at your art, that is going to let send a subconscious signal to that judge that somebody that is pretty damn skippy worked on this one. And so that's a positive thing. If you're not at that level, don't do it.
It's that simple.
Because it's the exact opposite reaction is, who the hell did that to that poor animal? That's the best way I can sum it up. And then one thing, and again, I think it's cool, and I think it looks good. When it's done right and amazing, it is really badass to behold. I'm also going to say, from me and my perspective, even the very single best in the industry, I think it's cool, and I think they should do it, and I love to see their talent and skill. I'm also still going to know that it's there. That no one has been able to fool me on that ever. So, even the very best. And so the whole point of it, even when it is great, you still know that that's built there and that's not all that animal. It doesn't offend me at all, but I just want to put that out there that I don't think anybody, no matter how talented they are, has ever fooled anybody to think that it's all natural and just regular hair.
Very well stated. Now, I think that is something we sometimes forget about, that the judge is probably going to notice. And again, I don't take it as a negative if it's done really, really well. But anything short of that, and whether you want to or not, it's going to play in your subconscious.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. Talking about things that are outside of the ring at a show, one thing that really irks me is whether it's county fair, state fair, major show. I'm not talking about the little jackpot show. But you've put all this work and this is the big moment and all this stuff, and the people, like, you're headed to the ring and it just never seems to fail. And maybe my crew and me are just snake bitten or have terrible luck, but it just seems like every fair goer and moron in the world is blocking your path from one end of that barn to the show ring. And I almost hyperventilate and kill people.
That is a concern for you.
Yeah.
No, and I think you see it more. I mean, you even have crowd control at the majors, especially Houston, where they've got the people out there with their yardsticks blocking traffic, human traffic, things. You just see it more there than you do other places. It's more of an issue in Texas, I think, more crowded.
Oh, and maybe that's why it is my deal. But and God bless the stick people at Houston, but you got to get to that back. You got to get to that back alley before the stick people take over. But I mean, I have literally sent 5 people in front to block aisles so we can get places. And as soon as you pass that one, they run down, and that's it just bothers me. But anyway, yeah,
agreed. What about the trend that we found in some of the breed or beef show ring where some of our beef cattle now look like dairy cattle, more resemble dairy cattle than a true beef animal? Not talking about the elite that are winning, but just in general.
What now?
I think that we've got, if we would just stop and reset and study some of the cattle and some of our breeds, these cattle have the shape and the muscling of a dairy animal relative to where a beef animal was at one time. Not all. I'm not saying the elites. The good ones are really good, period.
Oh,
but there has been a very strong trend in some breeds to go that general direction. I can't even explain it. And I
has offended every dairy farmer in America. Now, good job.
No, the dairy people aren't supposed to produce meat. I'm not trying to defend that. No, they're producing milk. That's fine. Sometimes I forget about longevity, but they are producing a lot of milk. So no, not trying to offend any dairy. I'm just saying that for some reason we have beef cattle that look more like dairy cattle right now than where I think maybe it should be. And that is my personal preference or personal opinion. And I'm not imposing
this on anybody.
No,
it's an opinion, not a preference.
It is an opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but it does concern me and it wears on me sometimes when I watch one after another go in there. And maybe I'm just too critical on it.
I think you're in the wrong breed is the problem.
Yeah, and I wasn't even going to talk about that.
Yeah, well, I'm jammed.
I noticed you just threw that. You just threw that right in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah, don't you hold
served
back.
it up. I just slammed it.
Don't you hold it back.
Just bam. Just like that.
Okay, those are most that I have for the showing. I have some just in my everyday life, but I think we better avoid those.
Well, give us one in your everyday life.
No, I don't know. I don't even know which one. I have too many of those.
You have too many of those? Well, I didn't even get a kiss because I do this so much. That's why I have so many. But, and again, we're not trying to be negative, and some of it's funny, but these are real things, and they are real issues that need to be thought about and corrected and stuff. But I guess my pet peeve in everyday life, if we just want to like talk about one, I will highlight one. And if you listen to my mother, she will tell you that I am a flawed human being because of this, which I'm flawed. There's no doubt, but I don't think it's over this. My pet peeve is that people want to call you when they could text you. And I don't understand it. Like, literally, you could take 2 minutes, put all that information in text and send, and the person can write back yes, no, or whatever. And people cannot get off the phone. That is just how it is. They are not good at it. And I think part of it is because we have become so dependent on text messaging that people do not know how to talk on a phone and get their point across and do it in a timely and concise manner and get off the phone. But my mother says that I'm a flawed human being because I would rather have a text than a call. I communicate almost every single day of my life on a microphone in a public forum. I'm a very good communicator. And that's not bragging. That's fact. I am very good at it. And so her telling me I'm flawed because I'd rather have a text, I would just rather not have something that could take 2 minutes, take 5. Period.
I can take that a step further. I have an employee, and I'm going to throw my local area, and I think it's not just this local area, but in general, there's a generation at my age or older that would prefer to drive to somebody's place to ask them a question.
Oh, sweet mother of Moses, I would die.
Yeah, no, they would and expect you to stand around and talk for a couple hours versus calling. I'm not even going from calling to texting. I'm just talking. If you have a question for me, just pick up the phone and call me. That'd be great. I don't need you to go out of your way and drive 10 miles to come see me. I won't be offended. None of those. So I think texting is more efficient. I'm good with taking calls. I do all day long and it's fine. But
no, I know that you have to take calls at times. Yeah. It's just like, I think the large majority of phone calls could be handled in a text much more efficiently, is what I'm saying.
Agreed. I'll throw one out there, and this one's not going to take any time, but it does get me a little bit. And to my fault again, and I am not in the position that Ryan is. He doesn't have to worry about this one. This one can't even go on his radar. When the person next to me in a plane does not respect my personal space, the person sitting next to me. This one, I've about hyperventilated over these types of things. I've about had an anxiety attack.
And this is why I don't understand, A, number one, why you don't always fly with somebody, or B, number two, why when you fly alone, you won't fly first class.
It costs too much.
It does not, Dale.
Well, I don't ever sign up for points. I probably should.
Oh my God. And so,
but and I'm not talking, I understand if somebody's a little bit larger. I'm not little by any means. And I'm gonna have to kind of crunch in a little bit, but when they hang over 3 or 4 inches into your seat,
why are you always in the middle seat? I don't understand it.
Because I booked my flights too late. And do you remember the pictures I sent you of one of those trips?
Yes, I remember all of them.
Oh, good Lord, he was on top of me, and I
couldn't physically.
I couldn't physically not. I could not stretch against the window far enough where that person was not touching me and sweating on me. And that doesn't bother you? You're in first class. You don't have to worry.
I just.
That is a problem. To my fault. I don't even want to travel anymore unless I can take my wife along to be a blocker. And she does not appreciate that.
Poor Holly.
Does not appreciate
the human plane blocker.
Pet peeve. And I shouldn't let that bother me, but it gets me.
Oh, that's funny.
And just try. I don't care if you come out of my side, but at least make an effort to try to gather yourself up a little bit.
I'm so glad I'm so glad you're back this week, Dale.
And I'm not opposed to people being larger. Just I better leave that alone. Are you ready for question and answer?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Okay. I have like a dozen of them in front of me. I don't even know which ones.
Oh God, I don't know if we need that many.
So we're okay on time. Here, this one I think we've probably already answered. We'll start out easy. How's that sound?
Okay.
This comes from Elizabeth, and a couple of these I can't tell you the name they came from. I don't think they want that on there.
Oh, okay.
And those are directly for you.
Thanks.
This is Elizabeth. Good evening. I just started listening to your podcast after watching Dale Judge at the Kent County Youth Fair. I think that's the one I told you I really liked up in Michigan.
Okay.
I really enjoying and learning a lot. I'm wondering if you guys have done a podcast on the differences between weather-bred boar goats and registered boar goats. I am just a couple years into breeding quality boar goats, bred to weather type bucks. I'm just trying to understand the big difference and why I should breed to what type of buck. I don't know if we haven't had a topic on it, but I think we've kind of answered it indirectly.
No, never heard anything like this. So I'm going to let the goat guru Dale have at it.
Right. I think I've already answered it because I answer this on a regular basis on messages and things like that. And the easiest way for me to explain, and Ryan talks about being asked to be an ABGA judge. It's a different world. Okay. Here's planet Pluto and here's Mercury. Okay. Mercury being the weather goats, if you want, and Pluto, the full bloods. They're just that much different. Maybe they shouldn't be. I'm not saying good, bad, indifferent. Obviously, I prefer the weather type.
But they are.
Yeah, they just are that different. And if you try to, I'm not saying you can't take the extremes in each and maybe bring them together to get one or the other or to benefit one or the other over a generational mating. But I'm pretty sure you can't take it's very difficult to take a full blood, breed it to a weather dam or vice versa and get a nationally competitive weather or a nationally competitive full blood or percentage. It just unlikely it's going to happen. So they are different. The full bloods are going to emphasize growth. They're going to emphasize frame size, just size in general, probably allow them to be a little fatter and have some of that white muscle thickness look to them. Put some hair on them, clip them up. I love the fact that we can leave hair on and shape them and clip them however you want to do it. But they're just a different world. And part of it is those that are accredited ABGA judges, some of those, and not all of them, there's some very good livestock people in there, but a lot of those are strictly what I call goat based. I don't even know how to explain it. Their background is all just through breeding goats. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but they have a different look at it than what a livestock person does. They may even be right because that's all they've seen, where I bring a different perspective and others bring more of a livestock background into it. And we want to change this damn goat completely. So we're raising wethers to be less like what Mother Nature ever intended for a goat to be. So the full blood side is probably correct and we're probably wrong. But what I want to emphasize, there's a monster difference. And I don't know that we can benefit a lot directly in that first cross by bringing them together.
So, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is kind of my take on it. If you tried taking a great full blood and a great, we'll call it weather dam or whatever, like show goat in the weather side of it and put them together, I think you would be losing. It would be like muddling the genetics.
The bad from both could come together. Right. And it would be a mess.
Well, and I think that not only could be a mess, but even if it wasn't a mess, you're going to get something in the middle. And when they're so far different, middle ground is going to get you in the middle of the class.
No, I would agree with that. I'm not saying there aren't some full bloods out there that maybe aren't doing well in the show ring that might work well, and people do it every day. But you may be a generation away. No,
but she was talking about taking first generation. Yeah. And I just don't think that is something that could be. So
Elizabeth, the weather bred genetics are, I mean, that is what they are. They're bred to make weathers, period. And they are right now probably as impractical, as difficult to breed, and as non-goat-like as you can make the full blood side.
That's why I like them.
Yeah, they're interesting creatures. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And it is, I understand if you just come into it, it doesn't make any sense on either side how they're so vastly different, but they are. Earl submits the next question. And
you said Ryan, you weren't going to use names, sir.
No, Earl won't mind. There's a lot of Earls in the world.
Okay.
And this is kind of like how I'd write a question, a little more of a rant than a question.
Oh, sweet mother of Moses.
So I'm going to just cruise right through it, and then I'll restate the question part for you because you're going to answer this one. If we buy show pigs from the ground up, why does it fly out the window at shows? Question mark. We are told by breeder after breeder to start from the ground up. Why don't the judges start from the ground up? And he has a list of 6.
Some of us do, sir.
Toes need to be pointed in the same direction. Mm-hmm. Legs need to be square. Bone mass, shoulder needs to be set back. Flexibility, and muscle mass. I know there are several factors that make a great show pig. I get it. Every judge has their own opinions on what they should look like, but all should start on the same page or at least the same chapter, or hell, the same book as far as it goes.
Oh, my.
I'm going to restate the top part, the question part.
There was no question in this.
Yes, there was
is. Just
if
a
we
rant.
I see a question mark right here. I see a question mark. If we buy show pigs from the ground up, why does that fly out the window at the shows? That's a question.
Okay, that's the question.
Now, he answered his own question. Earl answered his own question very well.
But followed by a very healthy rant, and I hope he feels better now that it's gotten read on that. And I agree with everything that man says, and I do. And
I even sympathize with it. Not only agree, I sympathize.
But I do want him to know that there are some judges that judge hogs that do care a great deal about structural integrity. The problem with that, Earl, is that boys club that kind of runs ramshot over all that. They don't like judges that do that.
You are going to get the most hate mail this week.
And tell me I'm wrong.
No, I'm on board with you. I just don't want the mail. So I prefer it went to you.
So, Earl, that's the problem. The boys club that kind of runs that whole little deal on who gets to judge and who doesn't get to judge, they don't like judges that care about structural integrity a whole lot. So that's why your question is. It was
now, Earl, everything changes and trends swing. Someday it'll come back to sound structured hogs. It will. I promise. I don't know when, but someday. Okay, this last question, and you know what? This ties right. I'm going to use this one now because it kind of this question's what encouraged me to throw my pet peeve in there that I'm going to get the most hate mail on.
Oh.
And this one is actually submitted by Dale. Now, this is not me. I would take credit for the question.
He may be lying.
No, I would not use my own name if I was lying. So this is an interesting question, and you know what? This is real, guys. Not good, but real. Hi, guys. I enjoy listening to your podcast. When you evaluate sheep, can you tell the difference between a manufactured, whatever voodoo they use in parentheses, sheep versus all natural? No, right? And some of us pretend like we can, but we can't. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. When it's done, I can't. When it's done well. Now the ones that don't do it so well, I have issues.
Is that his whole question?
No, I'm gonna finish it. I've never had the opportunity to feel a manufactured sheep, but I've always wanted to know if a judge could feel the difference. Sincerely, Dale.
Sincerely, Dale. Yeah. I think this is your question. And
why would I put my name on it? Why would I do that?
Try to throw people off the scent. But anyway, regardless, to answer this question, it depends. There are some times that it is done so well that that you cannot feel anything, that you can 100% say, yes, this animal has been jacked with or manufactured. And there are more than a couple of people that are that good at it, that can do that. You can look at that animal's shape and all these things and say, this is highly suspect. But when you go to handle them, there is absolutely nothing there that will give you an indication that is nothing other than that one is very freakish. Dale will disagree with that because he will give his rant, whatever. And just like when he was talking about crunchy sheep and all this other stuff, the problem for me when I judge is I can tell before I even handle one, if one is suspect, if one is not, for multiple, and not even the ones that are done well. You can just, you have a flag in your mind. But if there is not something that I can see, like he was talking about them being lopsided, puncture wound, injection site blemish, or I cannot feel an inconsistency that I know should not be there, then I cannot call that out because I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not going to do that to a kid.
Even though in your mind you have a high suspicion. And I agree 100%. And I think you stated it exactly right. Now, for me, I will see some that I will handle, and I can't say that I cannot just say, boom, this is what's been done, and this is wrong. But sometimes they take it so far, it takes everything out of proportion, where once we get to a certain amount of muscle, I don't need anymore, and it won't hurt you by having more. But when you get so far out there that it's disproportional, then it's going to hurt you. Does that make sense?
No. I'm not saying. I understand. I was just trying to answer the man's question.
Yeah. So
sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And I'll be real honest with you. I think it is just as easily detected with the eyes beforehand than it is with when you touch them.
And then in some of the practices that are used, you do know what the easy thing to do if you want confirmation. On the airing, if you reach down and pinch that hock, Ryan.
Yes, Dale, you have given me this lecture at least 15 times over
Did you use it last week?
Yes, Dale. Just move on. Next, okay. Is that the end of question and answer?
I think that was 3 of them. So yeah,
yes, it was.
This was a good episode. This was an enjoyable episode.
Sweet Jesus, thank you. Okay, so Dale will not be on next week. I will tell you already in advance. We're gonna give him a week off. He had a lot. This was a lot for him. We're gonna give him another week off. Will
I get as much hate mail as you do on this one?
No, I will get all the hate mail, and you designed it that way, but that's fine. Right. You're just mad that I'm. Anyway, next. This episode will drop on, I don't know, I think the 25th, 24th, I don't know. Anyway, but Friday, October 1st, which is only a few days away, is when we are going, our website, btrjla.com, will be open to take memberships on October 1st. We are super excited for all you guys to sign up and join up. We've got some things in the works. Again, we've got tremendous response from shows, sponsors. We've got a lot of people excited to join, and so we are looking forward to it. And we can't wait, but don't forget, October 1st, go to btrjla.com, sign up your kid for the 2022 year. I do want to let people know, because I think people are getting a little confused. Even though we're taking memberships on October 1st, our points year doesn't begin until January 1.
It sounds like the perfect Halloween present.
Yeah, there you go. Halloween present. Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all those holidays.
Throw it all together. Yeah. All together.
But our point year does not start till January 1 of 2022. So we're going to let you sign up early. Everybody's going to get 10 points, all that. But we want people to go on and get signed up, get in the system, and that way we can get more people, because our members, the region and state awards are based on membership numbers unless they're sponsored. So the more people that sign up early, we can say, you know what? Hey, boom, Ohio's got 500 members. So their state, all species, full awards. And so that's why we're letting you sign up early, so we can get more people signed up. And so before the year even starts, you will have an idea of what the award things are going to be like in your state and in your region. And again,
I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of the regions are going to probably be covered, I hope, on at least on membership and a combination of sponsorship. But the states, that will be in question a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that I agree with you. I think even though 1, 2, and 6 hasn't done a whole lot in terms of sponsorship, we're hoping they're just slow and coming around.
You're kind of picking on them a little bit.
I am. I'm not going to lie, because the other ones have done well. But I think between membership numbers, I mean, there's going to be a regional awards program in every region regardless, but the more members there are, full slate awards, or if it's sponsored. And so I think that by and large, all the regions will have a full slate awards. The state deal, that is the question, because states, you got to have 100 members to have an awards program of any kind. It's not 100 sheep members. It's not 100 pig members. It's 100 total members, but you do have to have 100 total members in your state to have an awards program of any kind. And then the more that you get, the more grows. But we've already had 2 state sponsored species. So, and we're going to announce those on social media. We're going to wait till we get some more. We've got a bunch of people that have contacted us, but the main thing is October 1st, btrjla.com. Sign your kid up.
Am I allowed to sign my kid up October 1st?
Duh.
They are eligible.
Yes, they are eligible.
Excellent. They will be signed up October 1st. Do not forget that. Back to the main topic, guys. We did pet peeves as kind of an entertaining thing. And again, this is just Ryan and I's pet peeves. That doesn't mean anything in the big world. Just a little
mine
bit of
do the most. Mine mean the most.
Mine
His may not.
Don't worry
about
mine. Other than the plane thing, respecting, if you sit by me on the plane, just try. Just try.
Okay.
Until next week, be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?